Hey everyone, and welcome back to the bench. And welcome back to my journey of rediscovering Lonely Soldier designs and where we're going next. So you've practiced your weaving and wrapping, you've learnt how to make a coil on a drill, and now you're ready to make a pendant. So where'd you go from here? So you learn the basic way of capturing a cabochon. So I thought I'd break down what I would call my beginner's workshop. I'm going to break it down into 4 parts. So today is part 1, and today we're going to learn how to capture a cabochon. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to make a bail and how to improve on that bail and advance it. And in the third part, we're just going to make it up as we go along and what do we do with the rest of the wire. That's normally the case. But in the fourth part, I think we need to cover patina and polishing and how to add contrast to your piece once you've finished using liver of sulfur. And yeah, how to work with patina. Brilliant. Anyway, let me show you some examples of exactly what we're going to do today. So here you can see just the standard shape cabochon, and we're going to use 3 wires to capture it in this method. Now I will stress that this is my way of doing it. This is what I've taught myself over the years, and I've honed it. So it's not the way of doing it. It's not you have to do it this way. There are many ways of doing this, and as you look online, you go through Facebook groups, you'll see this way of capturing a stone used quite a lot, but various different ways it's used, and everybody kind of has their method. So, but this is my method and how I like to do it. So today we're going to get to this point here, and we're only going to use 3 wires today. Very simple. And also I'm going to show you how to apply it to create a teardrop shape or a pointed shape. It's exactly the same method, but it's nice clean lines. That's what you're aiming for when doing this. Nice clean lines. Perfect. Right then, should we get started? So I suppose before we get started, I need to talk about tools. Tools that we will be using will be chain nose, flat nose, flush cutters, good pair of scissors, masking tape, metal ruler, Sharpie marker pen, and wire sizes. We will be using today's 0.8 20 gauge, 0.3mm, which is 28 gauge, just the 2 sizes. That's what you're going to need. So let's move on and talk about stones. Before we cut any wire, I need to talk about what kind of cabochon to use. So it all depends on how deep your cabochon is. So for this, I recommend choose the easiest cabochon you can find, okay? Because we're only using 3 wires. We don't want a cabochon, if you look here, that has flat sides. This has got much more of a rounded shoulder. It's not very deep there. You're not looking, there we go, an example here. This one's great, but as you can see, it's got much deeper sides. So we're not looking for a cabochon like that, because that would command, say, 4 pieces of wire to go around, or 5 pieces of wire, which would make a much more heavier pendant. For today, I want you to keep it simple. So choose a cabochon that's quite shallow and hasn't really got much of a deep side there, and also don't go too large. So this cabochon I will be using today, where are we at? So it's in about 30mm by 20mm. It's not a huge cabochon. So the bigger they get, the harder it is. You're going to want to go up in wire sizes, but let's keep it simple today. Just choose something very similar to what I've got, and then we can move along quite easily. So let's cut some wire and get started, shall we? So we've hit the age-old question of how much wire do I need to go around this stone. So there's a great way, or there's an easy way to help you work that out, because really there's a tough question really, because as you progress with designs you might want more wire or less wire, but we still need to know what's the circumference of our stone. How much wire do we need just to go around to the top of the stone there? So let's work that out before we cut any wire. So there's a great trick for this, and if you have watched my masking tape video, then you already know this. So what I recommend you do here is grab your masking tape, pull off a nice length, 10-15 centimeters is probably more than I need, but the spare masking tape will get used. Then taking your masking tape, start on one edge of it, start going round the outside of your stone. Like so, it can be a little tricky sometimes. It's a bit fingers and thumbs, but you'll get there in the end. There we go. And you want to make sure the masking tape, oh, stop coming unstuck. Typical, doing a demonstration and it all goes a little wrong. There we go. You want to make sure that masking tape does overlap by a good couple of centimeters. Now, taking your scissors here, cut down towards the stone as far as you can go. This is where a good pair of scissors comes in handy with a nice point, nice sharp point, and just get in there and just snip that last little bit. You could use a scalpel. There we go. Then taking that masking tape, oh, a little rip there, peel it off and stick it to your bench. You might find there's a spare bit that comes off. Put that to one side. We're going to use that in a minute. Stick it to your bench, like so. Taking your ruler, measure it. So there we go. We're at 82 mil. So there we go. I know I need 82 mil of wire to go around the outside of my stone, or thereabouts anyway, because remember, wire is wider than masking tape, so it will take a few extra mil. But that gives us a rough idea. But also, what this gives us is a blueprint we can now draw on, because this is going to show us or help us figure out where our wraps go around the outside. So again, take your ruler, mark the center of your masking tape. So 82, that's 41. And then mark the quarter points. And that's going to show you where this wrap and these quarter wraps are going to go here. These end two wraps are at the ends of the masking tape here. Now we're ready to cut some wire. So I'm going to be using 20 gauge, 0.8 mil for this. Now I've made a few of these, so I've got a good idea how much wire I need. For this size stone, I'm going to cut, well, you know what, let's cut a little bit more than we actually need, because we don't know what design's going to happen at the end, because we're kind of free, we're free flowing the design as we go along. So I'm going to cut 3 lengths of 0.8 at 25 centimeters. Here's a tip. Measure one, and then measure off the one that you've just cut. Next step is we need to hold these wires together. So this is where that spare piece of masking tape that you might have lying around, there we go, I kept it, put it to one side. I'm going to cut myself a strip 2 or 3 mil wide. Taking my wires, making sure they're flush and sat next to each other. Then taking that little strip of masking tape that I just cut, I'm going to place it just in like that, and then pinch it between fingers and thumb and wrap it around to help keep these pieces, these wires together while we wrap them. Here's another good tip as well. Use your flat nose pliers to help pinch. Run your fingers down the wires, keeping them all nice and neat together. You don't want them crossing over, you want them to stay together. And then again, taking another little thin piece of masking tape, wrap around the other end. Excellent. Again, gently run your fingers down the wires, help straighten them and flatten them out, and tease them into a nice flat shape. Then taking your ruler, mark the center of the wires. Then place that mark on your center mark on your little blueprint, and then mark the quarter marks and the ends of the masking tape as well. Now these are the points where, let's get this one in, where we're going to add our wraps. Right, let's get wrapping. So again, I like to use 0.3. I like using fine wires. It's a favorite of mine. But if you feel like you need to use 0.4, go for it. Use what you feel comfortable with. But yeah, I'm really into the fine wires. So let's get wrapping, shall we? Oh, I need to move on. So I need to say something. I need to give a warning first before anything. So obviously I'm working in copper wire here. If you guys are working in coloured wire or silver plated wire, you want to be really careful when marking with a marker pen, because it's not going to come off. At least we have, when using copper wire, we're going to be polishing at the end of mateenering, so that marker pen will come off. It will rub off. So I heard it does come off. You can rub it off of a silver plate and stuff like that, but I would just be careful with it as well. So if you are marking silver plate or coloured wire, mark it on the inside. So where it goes up against the stone like so, you don't see it. Right, back to what I was doing. Let's start wrapping. So just going to start wrapping on that center one. I'm only going to wrap round 5 times. I like to go 4 times, but I'm going to go 5 this time. Now you can see how I like to wrap here as well. Here's some few tips. I got the wires taut, and I'm turning the base wires as well as this, so that as my finger, so it pulls it round the corners. Cool. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to crimp. Tidy up. And then I'm going to snip the ends off, making sure I snip off on the same side. Okay. Now my cuts are on this side. This is now going to become the inside of the pendant. So that means there'll be no wires to get caught on jumpers or anything on the outside. So a great way to remember this, again, is take your marker pen and on that first wrap, put a nice dot on it. And that reminds you that you cut all your ends, or you trim all your ends, and they stay on the inside. Excellent. So again, once you've done that one, just line it up, check it's all good. Oh, look, there you go. It moves. It will move. Do the other marks. If you find the wires starting to bunch up, stop. Tidy up. Use your pliers to crimp. And keep them all even. You're aiming for 5 wraps each. Making sure, checking that I'm trimming to the right side. There we go. Oh, got my finger there. Crimp them. Tidy them up. Once you've finished your wraps, place it down onto your blueprint and let's make sure everything marries up with our marks. Not looking too bad. That one's a bit out. I'm going to move that one. They're pretty well matched in the right position. So you might need to just get your fingers on your wraps, slide them down. So the important thing is right now, actually, the wraps that need to be in their perfect position are these two at the end. These might move, but we have the luxury of when we go to grab the stone in a minute that we can actually move them back into position. So don't worry if these 3 here have slightly moved out of line. What you're worried about here is that your 2 outer wraps here are where they should be. So a good little tip here, as I always try and do, is that you make sure that a couple of wraps are just outside of the masking tape. The reason being, again, going back to this, is that yes, that masking tape is the circumference of the stone, but you're adding wire, so you're adding distance. So that wire is going to travel that extra 0.5 mil or a millimetre more than what your measurement gives. So I always recommend that you just have them just sticking out to the outside of your masking tape. Something else I forgot to say earlier on during tools is that it's not important, but a pair of tweezers come in handy. I like them. You can then help get your wraps together a bit neater. Right, let's grip this stone. I'm going to take away this piece. I'm going to put it to one side so I don't lose the measurement. Right, for the next phase, I recommend get yourself a bead mat. Something soft to place your stone down on and do the next bit. Not you don't want to be scratching on a table, getting the stone scratched up. So yeah, it just helps to keep everything in place, and yeah, nice something to work on. So before we get started, before we grab the stone, take your wrap, and obviously you need to triple check everything. Make sure everything is exactly where it should be. And now to make this life easier, before we grip the stone, I like to bend the ends up here. So that's the inside that's going to go against the stone like so. I'm going to take my pliers, my flat nose pliers, against my wrap, my last wrap at the end there. I'm going to just turn it so it's nice and tight next to the wrap to the outside. Again, just so to show you that's the inside, I'm turning it to the outside. I'm going to do the same again the other side. There we go. I'm going to place it down there. As you can see, that's the inside of my pendant. That's where my mark is, and that's where all my cuts are. So the reason I'm turning this up is that as we bend it round to the outside, it's going to meet at the top. It's going to make our life a lot easier. So it's a bit of fingers and thumbs here. That's all I can say. This is where the bead mat comes in handy, because you can push down into it and it helps stop things from sliding around. So I like to obviously make sure your stone's around the right way. I think I'm going to go that way around. Actually, yeah, let's go around that way. I like that. Place your centre wrap, that one at the base of your stone, right in the middle. Take one side and bend it round. Like so. And do the same the other side. Turn it on its side. Get your flat nose pliers. Get hold of them and help shape into the stone. There we go. Now, this is a good test. I'm just going to pick it up. Not too bad. We are tight, which is good. But I'm pretty happy with that. Cool. Excellent. To the next phase. So before we grip the stone, I'm just going to take a spare piece of wire that you've got lying around, piece of wrapping wire, and then I just want you to bind the neck together. Now, this is a dummy wrap. This does not need to be neat. You're just going to wrap around and you're just putting that neck tight together while we work on this. Excellent. Before we move forward, you might have noticed your wraps have slid out of place. So this is the point now to get everything back in line where you want them to be. Now, for this pendant, we're just doing the quarters marks and the halfway mark. So just sit there, take that few minutes or a few seconds to make sure everything is back in line where you like it. Even use your flat nose pliers to just help crimp them and help keep them roughly where you want them to be. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Well, that's not too bad. Right then, excellent. Let's grip this stone, shall we? So, when doing this, I always like to do the back bit first. Makes life easier. So even without the stone in. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers here. I'm going to start at the bottom half of the pendant next to the middle wrap just there. And I'm going to grab that last wire, that one wire. Try not to grab any more, just the one wire. And I'm going to pinch it next to the wrap. And I'm going to put my finger now in there next to the wrap. It just helps hold it into place so nothing moves. And I'm just going to gently, as you can see, turn in towards the pendant. Now I'm not going to go too far. And I'm going to do the same again, the other side. There we go. haven't come in too far. Now I'm going to do the same again, the other side of the wrap here and here. Now, the reason we start at the bottom here is because as you bend in, wire will get gently pulled down from this top end. So if you did these top ones first here, they'd be pulled out of shape. So I always start at the bottom, or even here, you can even pull the wire in here if you wanted to. But for this demonstration, we're doing it at the quarter marks. So again, just turn it in. There we go, you can see, gently towards, and do the same again the other side. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I haven't gone too mad. We can come back and adjust them and even them out a little bit more as we tweak. So slide your dummy wrap up out the way. And it can't slide when I want it to move. It's not moving. Done it too tight. There you go. Slide your dummy wrap out the way, get your stone and place it in. Like so. Don't worry about the gap at the top there. We can come back. We can adjust that at the end. So before I like to grip the actual stone, I like to go around with my pliers and just slightly, just gently get the wire to take the shape of the stone, flattening your wraps to the side. It's all about taking those extra seconds. There's a wrap that's moved at the bottom there. I can see that now. Just slightly moved out of place. Let's get you back in. There we go. Pretty happy with that. That's looking central. Make sure that wrap. Yeah, I'm good. That's good. Let's grip the front. So same again at the front. We're going to pull the wire over here, over the stone. And what you're doing is you're looking just to come over the shoulder of the stone to hold it in place. Tip here, fingernail, maybe in there. Help open it up. Flat nose pliers. Again, you could use your chain nose pliers here, but I like to use my flat nose pliers. And we're just going to pull it gently over the shoulder of the stone. We've not come over the shoulder of the stone too much. That will start holding it in place. Same again the other side. Just over the shoulder of the stone. Then we're going to do the top ones. Just gently. Like I say, don't worry too much about the neck. We can tidy that up in a second. There we go, just over the shoulder of the stone. Now I'm going to come to the neck, straighten things out, and even pinch them together like that. I'll help pull it in tight. There we go, that's nice and solid. Dummy wrap, back down again, hold it into place. I'm pleased with it. Now, what I would do at this stage here is now, again, take that extra few seconds to go round and adjust this. Get them even. And get nice clean lines. Nice. So this has got a bit of a bend, so we want a nice swoop. And that will complement the shape of the cabochon as well. So you can see here, when doing one with a point, you're looking for a nice straight line coming down. So think about your lines. Nice and smooth. Again, just go around and tweak until you're happy with it. On the back, I like to really pull the wire in. Make sure it's got a nice back to sit on. There you go, you can see that. Same again here. Not looking too bad. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not going to pull the wire over too far much because I don't want to cover the stone too much. So it's coming over the shoulder. It's in place. Yeah, give it a shake. It's not even rattling. That's a good sign that you've got a nice tight grip. Right, let's do the neck. So here, this is the point where you roll your dummy wrap up, just out the way. Again, get your flat nose pliers in there. Squeeze that neck nice and tight together, like so. Taking your wrapping wire. Now, you don't need much wire here. Taking your wrapping wire, leave yourself about what, 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters sticking out one side. And I want you to wrap down towards the stone 3 times. 1, and tight. Pull it in tight. 2, 3. Now the reason being 3 times is that, let me get an example here. We're not looking for a long neck. Now, in other designs, you might want a long neck, so you might want to wrap down more. That could be the design you're doing. But for this design, we're looking to keep a short neck here. So that's why I suggest wrap down towards the stone 3 times, then trim off, leaving yourself about 5 centimeters or so. Take the wire, hold it to that, pull them down, pull these 2 wires down, just with finger and thumb, hold them so they're nice and tight down the base there, you can see. Take your dummy wrap off, either slide it off or unwrap it. Then take your finger, just gently part the wires like so, just so you get a bit of a V. Then using your flat nose pliers, come in nice and tight down by the neck, and then fold it over so it's 90 degrees to the center of the pendant. There we go, you can see 90 degrees. Do the same the other side. You're creating like a T-bar effect. Now, we're in the world of my engineering here. This is what I like to do. This is what I've taught myself. This is where everybody does something slightly different. So I'm just going to tighten that T-bar up. Now, what to do with the ends of these wires? Now, I'm getting focus a little bit better. So what do we do with the ends of these wires here? So there's a couple of ways to finish off, but we need to get rid of them. They can't be just left there because they're going to get caught. They need to be tucked away and they need to be tidied away. So what you need to look for here, do you have a gap down there? Can you get any wire through there? If you can, that's a great way of getting rid of some wire. So we're going to start with the top piece. I'm going to bring it around one more time because there seems to be space. And as you can see, I have a bit of a gap down between there. I'm going to take the wire, push it through that gap. Oh, I'm going to see it's now coming out at the base of the pendant, at the top of the pendant there. Pull it tight. Now, if you can, wrap round it twice. Pull tight. Oh, that one broke. Let's see if we can get it round. There we go. Round twice. Pull tight. And then trim off. Trim off, making sure your end is in the hole. Like so. Then the other piece of wire, where is it? It's at the base wire there. So you can do the same with this one as well. But this, I'll show you what else I can do. So if you can't put the wire down through the center of there, sometimes you can't fit it there. I recommend you bring it through that groove to the top of the pendant, like so. See? And then pull tight. Trimming the wire off, like so. The trick is here is that there are no ends now. Run your fingers over. If you can feel something, you can feel an end, you know that's going to get caught on a piece of clothing or something like that. There we go. There we go. That's how to capture a cabochon in my style. So here's the bonus at the end here. So this is how I would grip a teardrop shaped stone. Obviously I've got it upside down. So, and I've done the masking tape. I've done exactly the same, no difference. I've put a wrap at the halfway mark, at the quarter marks, and at the ends of the masking tape there again. The only difference in this time round is that I've put that angle in. I bet that angle in first makes my life easier when I bring the wires round. So let's bring the wires round and let's grip this stone. So no different from the last time. Exactly the same. Bring them round so they meet at the top. Use your pliers to help straighten things out. And hopefully we can pick them up. That's a nice... Oh, there we go. It's going to go. It's going to go. Let's see if we can do this by hand. Not bad, not bad, not bad. So let's grip this stone. So again, where's my wire gone when I need it? There we are. Take that random piece of wire and do the dummy wrap around the neck. And again, we're going to start by bringing the wire across the back. But first thing first, as usual, let's check our wraps and make sure they haven't moved out of place or anything like that. That's in the center. Now, if you notice, I don't want these side ones here at the quarter mark. I want them to be more up around here on the stone here, more towards this shoulder part of the stone here. So I'm just going to slide them up, making sure they're even. There we go, I'm pretty happy with that. That's not bad. It looks a little bit uneven that side, but I'm sure once we bend around the stone and get the stone in, we will sort that out. There we go, that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So again, starting from the back, gripping that wire and turning it in. I'm not doing it too much. Same again the other side. There we go, pretty pleased with that. And I'm going to pop the stone in, do the same on the front. Got a wrap coming undone there. So before I go any further, I'm going to take my stone out. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to tidy that one up. With my chain nose, you can see it's come undone quite a bit. There we go, just bringing it down just over the shoulder of the stone again. Same again the other side. I'm doing these at a slightly funny angle because the camera's in the way. That's not too bad, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty cool. And now, again, time to tweak. Again at the back, I like to bring those wires quite a way over. And at the front, not so much, just making sure that we are, there we go, over the shoulder of the stone, keeping it in. Give it a shake. It's not moving. Great. Tighten the neck up. And then I would bind the neck together. But that's exactly how I would use the same method to grip a teardrop shaped cabochon. There's no different. The only difference is that your wraps at the quarter mark here, you can move them around. Now here's one I did earlier on. I was planning to show you this one, but it went a little bit wrong, so I decided not to use it. But I'm going to show it you quickly now as well, because this is the time when you would use this to maybe emphasize some lines down the stone as well. Actually, I wasn't happy with this. I'm going to take this one apart, but just to show you here, a piece of agate, it's got some nice lines. So this is what you're looking for, nice clean lines down the side of your stone, maybe complementing the pattern as well when doing this. There we go. Excellent. Thank you for watching. So there you go. There's a basic way of capturing a cabochon, and that's exactly where I started making pendants. I started with that capture first, then I moved forwards. So yeah, excellent. So thank you very much for joining me in this video. Please join me in part 2, where I show you how to make a bell on top of that stone and how to advance it as well and to move forwards into more advanced wire wrapping. Take care. Brilliant. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye. To support this channel and help me keep making more videos, please come on over to join my Patreon, where you'll get early access to all my videos, free downloads of my books and tutorials, and entries into my giveaways and more.